So let me ask you something. A couple years ago, maybe 2 years ago, you were down here in the offices, and we did the Wrestlers Best Unsigned Talent DVD.
I really liked that interview because it was supposed to just be me and Swan.
Yeah.
Do two little mini interviews. And
Right.
I loved it because Ricochet was randomly with us.
Yes.
And it became something special. It randomly came just me, Swan, and Ricochet sitting down and talking like best buds. And like we told a lot of good stories. And then me and Swan, you wanted us to do a like empty arena match.
Right.
Which we hate you for.
It was
So
freezing.
we still talk to this day.
And then, Wrestling's Best Unsigned Talent, and then you got signed like a month
and now
later.
I'm unsigned again.
Yeah, so what happened? I mean,
2.5 years later.
yeah, we'll talk
Took a
all
bunch of
about
chairs, took out like 30, 40 chairs, and like drop kicked this the big giant guy that does the hot tub reviews.
I know, yeah, I know.
His hot tub
he's on
reviews.
YouTube all the time. He's awesome.
I want to do an interview in the hot tub with him, by the way. I think it'd be great.
That'd be hilarious.
I've had ZZ from Tough Enough. I did it to him. I love him. He's a nice guy.
Right.
And I was like, he came in all like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm ZZ. And I was like, oh, I like your shoes. He's like, oh, well, thank you. Just to break the ice. And I was like, give them to me. And he goes, oh, man. Oh. And I was like, no, man, I'm kidding. I don't want your shoes for real. He's like, yeah, go do that, collect your payday. And he's like, we'll still do the tryout. So, like, I was like, okay. I went there, and, like, Regal was really pushing for me. And, like, because I cut a promo for Regal and Brooklyn Brawler.
Right.
At a TV the first time I was there, and they're like, wow, this kid's like, his promos are awesome. And I was there, and we did extra work, and I randomly wrestled Johnny Curtis in a dark match because they wanted to see me. So I wrestled him, and I think randomly the back body drop I took from Johnny Curtis, it was his first match as Fandango ever.
Right.
Like, it was either his first or second. He was simply Johnny Curtis at that point. It was right before he became Fandango, and they were trying out the character. I wrestled him, got a message from Mike Busey, Nova. He goes, hey, man, I'm really good friends with Ty Bailey. And he goes, he was talking about you. He goes, they're going to offer you a deal. Like, and I'm like, oh, awesome. And then, like, I'm in Japan for a couple more weeks, and then I see, like, something on, like, Pro Wrestling Insider. Mike Bailey has been left the company. And I was like, oh, well, there goes my contact. And I didn't hear anything for 10 months. They told us both they were going to hire us, and they pulled it back and said, we got to see you again because Sammy, you're not the typical guy because your size, and Ali, you're not the typical guy because your age. So we had like a match in front of the agents, in front of like Road Dogg and all those guys, and we killed it like before the show of like the Performance Center, like the first class of guys. Like it was me, Kalisto, Wesley Blake, Buddy Murphy, Simon Gotch, and like we didn't do anything. We didn't even wrestle on live. I wrestled one live event in 6 months, so I didn't wrestle a match in 6 months when I first got there. And then when Kenta and Fergal and all those got there, they realized like we put faith in indie guys, and they came in and went right to TV. And I was like, if I would have came in a later time, like I feel like I would have been in a way better spot. And that's one of the reasons I left, because I was like, I kind of got like, just like kept getting overshadowed, getting you mentally. And like me and Bill had like some like, I don't agree with everything he said with things, like, and I feel like he kind of messed up my debut, like, at NXT, because the way he was the agent of the match and the way he built it, but, like, that's just, like, what he felt, but I didn't feel that way.
And you couldn't say anything, obviously.
Yeah,
so,
and, like, I was debuting, so I was happy after a year and a half. He's known as being he's one of the best technical wrestlers of all time, and, like, me and him would just brainstorm and sit there, and, like, we'd have these amazing conversations, crazy stuff. He told me one day, he's like, if I ever came back to wrestle, there's only two people I'd ever wrestle. He goes, Claudio, Cesaro, and you. And he's like, there's something about you like that I love, and like he's one of my biggest supporters, and he's not just a coach and a mentor, he's like one of my friends. And now like he was our agent because he just randomly agented shows. Like, he was never at the school because he lived away, but he was like agent at the shows. And I remember we were first match, and he goes, kids, I don't care what the fuck you do. He goes, I know you guys are gonna go out there and kill it. He goes, do whatever you want. We went out there, and like the first match, like this never happens on live events in NXT. Like we got "This is awesome" chant, and we got to the back, and Terry's like, "Oh, you didn't work any holds." And Steve looked at Terry and he goes, "Did you hear the fucking crowd?" He goes, "That was fucking awesome." He goes, "You should walk upstairs right now and tell all these motherfuckers to go follow that." But that was the kind of, Steve was such a good fucking like mentor. He's like, look, he goes like, everyone's gonna have different opinions on things, but you got to pick what works for you. And he goes, if the crowd reacts, that's what you want. He goes, you got to feel that crowd. Like, if what you're doing. At first, I was kind of intimidated, but everyone's like, oh, you can go talk to him. He's a great guy. He's one of the boys. Like, he'll listen to you. And then I had a great relationship with Hunter. Like, anytime I wanted to talk to him, like, one thing, like, people can never take away from Hunter is, like, he believes in NXT. That's his baby. And, like, he could, like, after, like, our TV tapings, he could just, like, run out of the building, get in his car, and, like, go get to the airport. But he'll sit there for an hour, 2 hours sometime, and, like, people just be in line, and he'll talk to every single person.
That was my question. Is he approachable?
Yeah, if I saw Kevin Owens Kevin Steen versus Brock Lesnar, my mind might explode. The first time when I saw him wrestle John Cena, like it was like a surreal moment. I'm like, Kevin's wrestling fucking John Cena right now, and he beat him.
Yeah.
I was in the same place every day in Florida, and I'd go in and I work out at the same time. And I go get in the ring or do tape study, and I do promo class, and like it was like a job. Like it was like 8 hours every day, and like people's like, I want to be there, but it's hard. Like it really is hard.
Take us through an average week.
Mondays. So I'm gonna say like not like the Terry Taylor class, like the normal guy class when I first got there. It came down to two names. It was either Solomon Crow, because I pitched Jeremiah Crow and I pitched Solomon one word. And then they came back with Solomon Crow. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. But I wanted Jeremiah Crow. Dude, like that's the thing.
Everybody.
All the time. Like Hogan was there, Sting was there. Undertaker would come in from time to time and just sit there and talk to us, and we gotta just pick Undertaker's brain. Like, holy fuck, Undertaker's like. I remember like Norman came over. He's like, yo, Undertaker like really likes your stuff. He goes, you're real aggressive, like, because he's watching me work out in the ring. And I was like, just hearing Norman say that, I was like, fuck, that's the fucking Undertaker. When you really think about it, like, the most respected man in our business, like, gave me a compliment. But there's, like, they even said, like when I had that match with Apollo, Triple H, I guess, was in Gorilla, was like, where the fuck has this kid been? Like, why has he been wrestling like this all along? And he pulled me outside, he's like, this is the first time I thought you showed up. Like, where has this been? And, like, Norman and Billy Gunn, like, straight up stood up and goes, well, this is the kid that is on every live event and kills it and busts his ass and wrestles young guys, wrestles Finn, wrestles anyone, never complains, and like he kills it. But he's never been given the chance to do what he does on TV. And like that was a young spirit too. He's hip with things. Like he's the man. Like he gives the most amazing speeches ever before shows and fire you up. He goes, "This is the car. Do you want to drive the car? Or do you want to be in the passenger seat?" And everyone be fired up like, fuck, we're making fucking history. Michael Hayes is the man. Like, I loved every time Michael would come out and give us one of those speeches, because, like, that's when you knew, oh, this is a big deal. We're doing something special. Fucking the Freebird. That motherfucker is, like, the man.
Did you have a lot of interaction with Michael?
I wish I would have. Dude, they paid all my doctor bills. They had the best medical staff down there at the Performance Center. Tara and Brian Duncan, like, they're like our mom and dad kind of, like, they take care of us better than anyone. Like, anything, like, you wince, you tweak
your relationship with her led to heat on you at all?
No, I didn't have any heat at all.
Okay.
I was really liked by, like, the trainers and, like, all the head guys. It just wasn't clicking on TV.
When you found out that
they like came back after like an injury angle and they're like badasses and they got to show that aggression, because they're usually comedy like type, like, oh, we cut the promo, but they got to show that aggression, and it was so awesome watching that live. I walked up to Cass and was like, dude, like, you guys are like stars. Like, you guys became not only just a comedy act that sells a bunch of merch, like tonight you became like, these guys are badasses, and they're
Do you think a lot of guys, here's a question for you, a lot of guys could transform from NXT roster to make it to TV and be as over?
If they're given the platform. That's the thing, like, a lot, like, Bo Dallas is one of the best guys I've ever seen in the ring, and he's never been given the opportunity there. Like, if he's given the opportunity, he could be the man there. Like, there's so many good guys, like, down there right now that, like, they give one of my friends. Yeah. I've known Gargano longer than I've known a lot of people in the business. Like, me and him hated each other when we were younger, because we were both coming in Ohio, and we were both, like, the man in Ohio, like, the young guy, and, like, our careers kind of pattern each other. He went to Ring of Honor. He went to Chikara, I went to CCW. He went, we both had a Ring of Honor dark match together. Then, like, he went to Evolve, I went to Evolve. I went to Japan, he went to Japan. Like, we always...
Take us through what makes you decide you need to leave WWE. And what were the breaking points for you that pretty much you said you needed
I just wasn't getting used. I was kind of in a stagnant state. I was in a limbo. And, like, I was like, I gave it till the end of the year. And, like, they had plans for me, but it didn't happen by the end of the year. And I was like, I have to be bam. You're not a pro wrestler anymore. You're a WWE superstar. There's a real big difference between being a pro wrestler and a WWE superstar. Like, they train you how to be a productive person in life.
Just then? Just now? Come on, that's insane.
Let me hit you once. Let me slap you once.
Yo, why? Why would that happen?
The fans want it.
That wasn't a question.
Let me slap you.
You said any questions. Why? Why is this happening?
Once. The fans want it. Turn your head.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Don't hit me.
Oh, you just slipped and fell and ruined his
he had a
chance,
WWE tryout back in like
cool
2002, 2003 or something, back in the day, like on Heat. And he went to the ring and he was climbing up the stairs. He tripped and fell and ate shit. And he's like, it ruined my career. That's what that, like, I'm a big Mark Mara fan. I don't know why, but he's just kind of been my thing.
He's
and
like
I haven't meet him. I want to meet him really bad. But over the years, all the plastic surgery he had, have you ever seen the ad for the Lion King musical?
At Jersey Alpha.
Yeah, I guess like Loki like tried to get funny with Dickinson. Dickinson's out of his goddamn mind. He's crazy. Like, he's crazy. He's like the modern day Brian Pillman.
He reminds me
like,
of Buzz Sawyer.
And then he like just snapped Loki and kicked Loki in the fucking head and was like, okay, are we gonna play? Or are we gonna wrestle? Loki calmed the fuck down. I was like, okay.
Loki was real cool.
Dude, he's real cool. The thing is, like, the best way to put Masada is he's a Sour Patch Kid. He's really sour, really shitty.
Those commercials.
But then he gets really sweet.
Here's a question.
I'm the only guy to ever wrestle Loki. He knocked me out. I woke the fuck back up, and I spit blood on his face.
Looking back at that.
And I was going to Evolve and Drag Gate, and I knew he worked there, and I told sorry-ass Gabe, book me against him because I'm going to fuck him up. I don't have any respect for him. I don't really give a shit.
Didn't Dickinson mess up Loki? And B, we were Triple H's like Terminators out on stage with him. A, I got to be a Terminator at WrestleMania, which is fucking cool.
Right.
I remember I had
Not many people know this.
I had the Terminator.
Yeah,
I had the Terminator mask on, and I remember standing there, and I like. So I'm Sammy Callahan.
David Starr.
This is Masada.
It's spelled with all capital letters.
All capital letters.
MASADA. All capital.
Cap
if you don't
lock.
spell capital,
Caps
it's not
lock.
right.
Yeah, it's not me.
You're watching RF video.